Have you ever wondered why the harder you chase something, the further it seems to drift away? We spend so much of our lives tightly gripping, to timelines, expectations, people, outcomes. We hustle, we plan, we overthink, we try to bend life to our will. And in doing so, we unknowingly close the very door through which peace, love, and fulfillment try to enter. But what if everything you've been chasing, success, love, clarity, purpose, was already making its way to you? What if the only thing stopping it was your constant need to control how and when it arrives? In Buddhism, there's a profound truth. The tighter you hold on, the more you suffer. The more you let go, the freer you become. Letting go is not a failure. It's not giving up. It's the most courageous act of all because it requires trust. Trust in life. Trust in timing. Trust in something greater than your own plans. So today, in this sacred journey with the Enlightened Mind, we're going to peel back the layers of fear, doubt, and control. We're going to step out of the noisy and into stillness, beyond the grind and into grace, beyond the illusion of control and into the timeless flow of surrender. You'll discover how letting go is not the end of the journey. It's where the real magic begins. Part I. The vibration you send is what you receive. In Buddhism, the world we experience isn't separate from it, is a mirror, constantly reflecting back the state of our inner being. You are not just a passive observer of the universe. You are in a constant dance with it. Every thought you hold, every emotion you nurture, every belief you carry, they're not private. They are energetic signals, rippling out into the world like invisible radio waves, shaping your reality in ways both subtle and profound. What is vibration in the Buddhist lens? Buddhism teaches that all phenomena arise from mind. In the Dhammapada, the Buddha says, "All that we are is the result of what we have thought. The mind is everything. What we think, we become." What modern language might call vibration, ancient Buddhist thought calls mental formations or energy of mind. This energy isn't mystical fluff. It's real, perceptible, and powerful. When your mind is filled with peace, you speak calmly, your body softens, your presence soothes. When your mind is anxious, even if you smile on the outside, people feel your tension. You're always broadcasting something. Beleven, the desperate mind, sends out scarcity. When we want something deeply a partner, a job, healing, or purpose, but we chase it with desperation, our vibration becomes frantic. And that desperation sends a message that says, "I don't have this yet. I'm afraid I never will." And what does the universe do? It mirrors that fear. Doors close, people turn away, efforts fail. Not because we're being punished, but because fear repels, while calmness attracts. Think of a person who's overly eager on a first date, talking too fast, trying to impress, unable to relax. That energy is unsettling. Now imagine someone who is at peace with themselves, grounded and curious. Who do you want to be around? The same applies to life itself. Life responds to your frequency, not your fantasy. Real story. Anna's shift from desperation to radiance. Anna had been single for years. She journaled, visualized, and prayed for a loving relationship. But underneath all of it was a deep fear. Maybe I'm unlovable. Her actions mirrored that fear. She jumped into dating apps, obsessed over replies, and cried every time someone ghosted her. One day, exhausted, she paused. She began meditating. She took herself out to cafes with a good book, went to the movies alone, and danced in her living room. Slowly, she stopped chasing. 6 months later, She met James not on an app, but in a quiet bookstore. She was standing in the poetry section, laughing at a line in Rumi's verses. He heard her laugh and smiled. They started talking. The moment I stopped searching for love and started being love, Anna said, was the moment it found me. Gujid Buddhist practice, transforming vibration through mindfulness. In the Satipatthana Sutta, the Buddha lays out the foundation of mindfulness as the path to liberation. When you're mindful of your thoughts and emotional states, you catch yourself before sinking into fear. A simple practice to raise your vibration. Breathe deeply and bring attention to your heart. Ask, what energy am I sending out right now? If it's anxious, don't judge, it just soften. Imagine exhaling peace, not fear. Gratitude, not grasping. You don't have to fix everything instantly. Just shift your state. The rest follows. Reflection. How vibration shapes our days. Have you ever noticed how a single bad mood can ruin an entire day? You spill coffee, miss your bus, snap at someone you love. But when you're calm even, if challenges come, they pass like clouds. That's vibration. And it's not about faking positivity. It's about authentic, energetic alignment. You align by being honest, gentle with yourself, and choosing peace over panic, again and again. Commentary. Why this teaching is so transformational. We often think change happens externally: new job, new location, new partner, but lasting transformation begins inwardly. As Thich Nhat Hanh wrote, "The wave does not have to die to become water. She is already water." You don't need to do more. You need to become more aligned with what you truly seek. Want love? Be love. Want abundance? Feel whole. Want peace? Practice presence. Lesson recap. The universe doesn't respond to your need, it responds to your energy. Desperation emits scarcity. Trust emits abundance. Let go of chasing and shift into receiving by being present. Mindfulness transforms your frequency one breath at a time. You don't attract what you chase. You attract what you are. So, ask yourself not what you want to have, but who you are becoming. Let the answer guide your next breath. Part 2. Control blocks the flow of life. If you've ever clenched your jaw trying to make something happen, you know the illusion of control. We micromanage, push, plan, stress, and overthink believing we're being productive. But often, what we're really doing is resisting the natural flow of life. And resistance always comes at a cost. BA, the illusion of control. Control feels safe. It makes us feel in charge. But in Buddhism, control is a form of clinging, subtle grasping, born from fear. And fear, as you'll remember from part 1, distorts our vibration and clouds our judgment. Buddha said, "He who seeks to control the world cannot control himself." Control stems from a deep discomfort with uncertainty. But life is uncertain. The tighter we grip it, the more we suffer. Buddhist analogy, the closed fist. Imagine trying to hold water in a clenched fist. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it escapes. Now, picture an open palm. Still, soft, allowing. The water rests there peacefully. This is the image Buddhist monks often use to illustrate control versus surrender. You can't force water to stay, it will only spill. Likewise, you can't force life to move on your terms. You can only meet it openly, without fear. Thich Nhat Hanh writes, "When you let go of the need to control, you make space for the universe to surprise you." Real story. Leo's battle with timing. Leo had worked tirelessly to land a job at a top media company. He rehearsed interviews, made spreadsheets of connections, sent countless follow-ups. But each time he got close, the opportunity slipped away. Burnt out, he flew home to stay with his parents. There, in forced stillness, he began meditating again. No strategy, no pushing, just breathing. 3 weeks later, an old colleague reached out of the blue, offering him a role at a creative agency that better matched his soul. It wasn't what he thought he wanted, but it was exactly what he needed. The moment I stopped pushing, Leo said, something better had space to find me. Practice the non-doing moment. The Taoist sages spoke of wu-wei non-doing, or effortless action. In Buddhism, it is reflected in the concept of non-resistance. You don't fight the current, you flow with it. Here's a simple practice. When you feel the need to control a conversation, an outcome, a person, pause. Inhale deeply. Exhale with the intention of loosening your grip. Ask yourself, what if I trusted life just for the next 5 minutes? Don't try to fix everything. Let the moment be what it is. Reflection. The paradox of control. Most of us were raised to believe control equals power. But look closer. The people with the deepest peace are not those who control the most, but those who surrender the fastest. Rumi wrote, "Try to stay in the flow of God's grace. Let go of your rules and planning. Control is born from fear. Surrender is born from trust. When you stop insisting on how life should go, you start participating in how life actually is. And often, it's far more beautiful than what you planned." Buddhist insight, accepting impermanence. The Buddha taught that clinging causes suffering because everything is impermanent. We try to control relationships so they don't end. We try to control careers so we don't fall behind. We try to control our bodies so we don't age. But all things change. Control doesn't prevent change. It only delays our peace. When you accept impermanence, you stop controlling and start cooperating with the rhythm of life. Guided affirmation. Let go with grace. Repeat slowly in your mind. I release the need to control what is not mine to carry. I trust that life is unfolding in ways I cannot yet see. I meet this moment with openness, not resistance. Let me be like water soft, flowing yet unstoppable. Lesson recap. Control feels powerful, but it actually limits flow and invites suffering. Life responds better to surrender than to force. Letting go of control doesn't mean giving up, it means opening up. Trust, not tightness, is the path to lasting peace. You don't have to fix everything. You don't have to know how it all works out. You just have to let go of the illusion that it was ever all up to you. When you stop fighting the current, you realize the river has been carrying you all along. Part 3. The wisdom in silence. In a world that values noise, speed, and constant reaction, silence has become a revolutionary act. But in Buddhism, silence is not emptiness, it is presence. It's not the absence of sound, but the presence of awareness, a sacred space where the ego dissolves and insight arises. Buddhist saying, "When the mouth is closed, the mind opens." We are often taught to speak up, explain ourselves, be loud to be heard. But the most powerful moments in life, the moments that shift us, ground us, heal, are often silent. 2.7 is the doorway to clarity. The Buddha practiced and taught noble silencia, deliberate withdrawal from speech, not as repression, but as refinement. In the Majjhima Nikaya, it's recorded that after deep teachings, the Buddha would often remain silent. That silence wasn't avoidance. It was invitation to contemplate, to look inward, to feel. Because sometimes, no answer is the deepest answer. Silence allows the surface of the mind to settle like a still pond, and only when the surface is still can we see what lies beneath. Real story, Ava's silent retreat. Ava was a marketing executive, constantly on Zoom, constantly explaining, negotiating, selling. She joined a 10-day Vipassana retreat in Northern California in days of silence. No talking, no phones, no eye contact. The first few days were unbearable. She itched for distraction. Her mind screamed in the quiet. But around day 4, something shifted. I started hearing my own thoughts, she said. Not the ones I say out loud, the ones I run from. In that silence, Ava cried. She laughed, she healed. It was the first time in my adult life I felt real peace, she said. Not because something happened, but because I finally stopped happening to myself. Why silence scares us. Silence confronts us. Without the noise, we're left with ourselves, our unresolved pain, our unmet needs, our spinning thoughts. But this confrontation is the path. Thich Nhat Hanh wrote, "In true silence, we can touch understanding and peace. Just as wounds must be cleaned to heal, the soul must sit in silence to remember its essence." Gerd, practice 5 minutes of sacred silence. You don't need a mountain or monastery. Try this. Sit comfortably. Set a timer for 5 minutes. Turn off all noise. No music, no guided meditation, just stillness. Do not try to achieve anything. Simply be noticing your breath, the sensations in your body, the space between thoughts. It may feel boring. It may feel loud inside. But keep showing up, because silence doesn't come when the noise ends. It comes when you stop resisting what's already here. Reflection, the power of saying nothing. Think about the last argument you had. Was it truly resolved by what was said or by what was felt after the talking stopped? Silence is a space where truth breathes, where tension softens, where presence becomes enough. Sometimes silence is more healing than any advice, more powerful than any comeback. It says, I don't need to control this moment. I trust it will teach what words cannot. Buddhist insight, the 4 types of speech. The Buddha taught that before speaking, we should ask, is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? Is it the right time? If not, the wisest speech is silence. This isn't censorship. It's compassion for ourselves and others. Lesson recap. Silence isn't emptiness, it's insight. In stillness, the ego quiets and awareness expands. Silence helps us feel what words can't explain. You don't always need to respond. Sometimes presence is enough. You are not your thoughts. You are not your voice. You are the space in which all of it rises and fades. Let silence be your teacher. Let stillness become your strength. And in that quiet listen for the voice that has been waiting, your own. Part 4. Trusting the timing. We want things now. Answers, love, success, healing. We crave certainty, clarity, arrival. And when life doesn't move on our timeline, we panic. We think we've failed, or worse, that we've been forgotten. But Buddhism teaches us something far gentler and far more powerful. There is no behind. There is only ripening. Just as a lotus doesn't bloom faster because we yell at it, your life doesn't unfold more beautifully when you force it. It unfolds in its own divine rhythm. Beren, the illusion of delay. When things don't happen on our schedule, we label them delayed or wrong. But often, what feels like a delay is actually divine protection or preparation. The Buddha taught that patience, khanti, is one of the greatest virtues on the path to awakening. Why? Because when you're patient, you're trusting that the unseen forces of life are working even when you can't see the blueprint. It's not about waiting passively. It's about living actively without clinging to a specific outcome or time. Real story: Maya's path to parenthood. Maya and her partner tried to conceive for years. Each month became a cycle of hope and heartbreak. She did everything right, from treatments to diets to visualizations. But nothing happened. Eventually, worn thin, she stopped trying. She focused on joy, again painting, hiking, mentoring young girls in her community. 2 years later, Maya adopted a child who had been abandoned at birth. And strangely, just months after, she became pregnant naturally. I thought motherhood had to come a certain way, Maya shared. But life had a better story than the one I was forcing. Gubbid, Buddhist insight: the fruit ripens when it's ready. In the Dhammapada, the Buddha says, "Do not try to hurry things along. Everything has its season. The fruit ripens in its time." The lesson is not to sit idle, but to act with trust, not with force. Think of a farmer. He doesn't dig up the seeds daily to see if they're growing. He waters them, tends to the soil, and allows the sun and earth to do their work. Likewise, your job is to prepare the inner soil, to take action, but release the timing. Kumjid, practice, the mantra of right timing. When impatience arises, close your eyes and say softly, "What's meant for me is already on its way." The delay is not denial, it's alignment. I trust the wisdom of timing, even when I don't understand it. Repeat this until your breath slows. Let the mind stop fighting what it cannot control. Reflection: what are you rushing? Ask yourself, what in your life are you trying to rush? What's the fear beneath the rush? What might life be doing for you in the waiting? Sometimes we're not waiting for life. Sometimes life is waiting for us to grow, to soften, to align. As Lao Tzu once said, "Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished." Commentary: time is not the enemy. Modern society worships speed, but wisdom doesn't rush. Trees take decades to mature. Oceans carve cliffs over centuries. Your soul too unfolds in layers, in deadlines. In Buddhism, time is cyclical, not linear. What looks like going backwards is often spiraling deeper into truth. What feels stuck is often preparing you for a leap. There is no wasted time, only misunderstood timing. Lesson recap: life has its own rhythm. It's always wiser than your plans. What feels delayed is often divine alignment. Trust grows when you surrender urgency. The fruit doesn't ripen by force, but by faithful tending. You don't have to chase the moment. You are the moment. Everything you seek is already orbiting, you waiting for you to become still enough, soft enough, and open enough to receive it. Let go of the clock. Trust the current. Let life bloom exactly when it's meant to. Part 5. You receive what you believe you deserve. There is a quiet truth we rarely speak aloud. We don't get what we want. We get what we believe we deserve. Not consciously, of course. Most people say they want love, peace, abundance. But beneath the surface, their inner voice whispers a different story. I'm not enough. I've made too many mistakes. I have to suffer to earn my worth. And so they sabotage the very blessings life tries to offer. The mirror of the mind. In Buddhist psychology, this is known as samskaradip mental impressions, formed by past experience and karma. These beliefs shape not only how we see the world, but how we allow ourselves to experience it. As the Buddha said, with our thoughts, we make the world. Your external reality is often a mirror of your internal self-concept. If you believe you're undeserving, you'll reject peace when it knocks. If you believe you must suffer to prove your value, you'll unconsciously chase suffering and call it destiny. Real story: Jordan's journey to receiving. Jordan was a gifted artist. Friends praised his work, but he always dismissed it. I didn't go to art school, he'd say. I'm not a real artist. One day, he was offered a gallery show. He declined, fearing he'd be found out as a fraud. It wasn't lack of opportunity holding him back, it was self-rejection. Later, in therapy, Jordan uncovered the root. As a child, he was only praised when he performed well. His worth became tied to effort and external approval. Only when he began affirming his value through meditation, mirror work, and compassion did things shift. He held his first show at age 38. It sold out in 3 days. I realized, he said, life had been saying yes to me all along. I was the one saying no. Buddhist insight: worthiness is not earned, it's remembered. In the Lotus Sutra, the Buddha reminds us that all beings already carry Buddha nature. This means you are inherently whole, inherently worthy, inherently luminous. But like a dusty mirror, your self-perception becomes clouded by life, wounds, culture. The mirror doesn't lose its ability to reflect, it just needs cleaning. So, healing isn't about becoming worthy, it's about remembering that you always were. Reflection: what belief is blocking you? Ask gently, do I truly believe I deserve peace? Do I feel safe receiving love without earning it? When something good comes, do I embrace brace for it to disappear? Be honest. Your healing begins where your honesty meets your compassion. Practice worthiness meditation. Sit in stillness and bring one hand to your heart. Repeat softly, I am enough exactly as I am. I welcome goodness into my life. I am open to receive. Visualize your future self calm, grounded, fulfilled, thanking you for believing in them. Return to this daily. You are rewiring your mind, not with fantasy, but with truth. Lesson recap: what you believe about yourself shapes what you allow into your life. You cannot receive more than what your self-worth permits. Worth is not earned through suffering, it is remembered through awareness. When you shift the story inside, life begins to reflect a new chapter outside. If you've ever wondered why peace feels distant, ask yourself not, why hasn't it come? But, have I made space to receive it? You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are simply being called to believe in your own light, so life can finally reflect it back to you. Part 5. You receive what you believe you deserve. There is a quiet truth we rarely speak aloud. We don't get what we want, we get what we believe we deserve. Not consciously, of course. Most people say they want love, peace, abundance. But beneath the surface, their inner voice whispers a different story. I'm not enough. I've made too many mistakes. I have to suffer to earn my worth. And so they sabotage the very blessings life tries to offer. The mirror of the mind. In Buddhist psychology, this is known as samskara-deep mental impressions formed by past experience and karma. These beliefs shape not only how we see the world, but how we allow ourselves to experience it. As the Buddha said, "With our thoughts, we make the world." Your external reality is often a mirror of your internal self-concept. If you believe you're undeserving, you'll reject peace when it knocks. If you believe you must suffer to prove your value, you'll unconsciously chase suffering and call it destiny. Real story: Jordan's journey to receiving. Jordan was a gifted artist. Friends praised his work, but he always dismissed it. "I didn't go to art school," he'd say. "I'm not a real artist." One day, he was offered a gallery show. He declined, fearing he'd be found out as a fraud. It wasn't lack of opportunity holding him back. It was self-rejection. Later, in therapy, Jordan uncovered the root. As a child, he was only praised when he performed well. His worth became tied to effort and external approval. Only when he began affirming his value through meditation, mirror work, and compassion did things shift. He held his first show at age 38. It sold out in 3 days. "I realized," he said, "life had been saying yes to me all along. I was the one saying no." Buddhist insight: worthiness is not earned, it's remembered. In the Lotus Sutra, the Buddha reminds us that all beings already carry Buddha nature. This means you are inherently whole, inherently worthy, inherently luminous. But like a dusty mirror, your self-perception becomes clouded by life, wounds, culture. The mirror doesn't lose its ability to reflect, it just needs cleaning. So, healing isn't about becoming worthy, it's about remembering that you always were. Reflection: what belief is blocking you? Ask gently, do I truly believe I deserve peace? Do I feel safe receiving love without earning it? When something good comes, do I embrace brace for it to disappear? Be honest. Your healing begins where your honesty meets your compassion. Practice worthiness meditation. Sit in stillness and bring one hand to your heart. Repeat softly, "I am enough exactly as I am. I welcome goodness into my life. I am open to receive." Visualize your future self calm, grounded, fulfilled, thanking you for believing in them. Return to this daily. You are rewiring your mind, not with fantasy, but with truth. Lesson recap: what you believe about yourself shapes what you allow into your life. You cannot receive more than what your self-worth permits. Worth is not earned through suffering, it is remembered through awareness. When you shift the story inside, life begins to reflect a new chapter outside. If you've ever wondered why peace feels distant, ask yourself not, "Why hasn't it come?" but, "Have I made space to receive it?" You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are simply being called to believe in your own light, so life can finally reflect it back to you. Part 5. You receive what you believe you deserve. There is a quiet truth we rarely speak aloud. We don't get what we want, we get what we believe we deserve. Not consciously, of course. Most people say they want love, peace, abundance. But beneath the surface, their inner voice whispers a different story. "I'm not enough. I've made too many mistakes. I have to suffer to earn my worth." And so they sabotage the very blessings life tries to offer. To the mirror of the mind. In Buddhist psychology, This is known as samskara-deep mental impressions formed by past experience and karma. These beliefs shape not only how we see the world, but how we allow ourselves to experience it. As the Buddha said, "With our thoughts, we make the world." Your external reality is often a mirror of your internal self-concept. If you believe you're undeserving, you'll reject peace when it knocks. If you believe you must suffer to prove your value, you'll unconsciously chase suffering and call it destiny. Real story. Jordan's journey to receiving. Jordan was a gifted artist. Friends praised his work, but he always dismissed it. "I didn't go to art school," he'd say. "I'm not a real artist." One day, he was offered a gallery show. He declined, fearing he'd be found out as a fraud. It wasn't lack of opportunity holding him back, it was self-rejection. Later, in therapy, Jordan uncovered the root. As a child, he was only praised when he performed well. His worth became tied to effort and external approval. Only when he began affirming his value through meditation, mirror work, and compassion did things shift. He held his first show at age 38. It sold out in 3 days. "I realized," he said, "life had been saying yes to me all along. I was the one saying no." Goj, Buddhist insight. Worthiness is not earned, it's remembered. In the Lotus Sutra, the Buddha reminds us that all beings already carry Buddha nature. This means you are inherently whole, inherently worthy, inherently luminous. But like a dusty mirror, your self-perception becomes clouded by life, wounds, culture. The mirror doesn't lose its ability to reflect it, just needs cleaning. So healing isn't about becoming worthy. It's about remembering that you always were. Reflection. What belief is blocking you? Ask gently, do I truly believe I deserve peace? Do I feel safe receiving love without earning it? When something good comes, do I embrace to brace for it to disappear? Be honest. Your healing begins where your honesty meets your compassion. Practice worthiness meditation. Sit in stillness and bring one hand to your heart. Repeat softly, I am enough exactly as I am. I welcome goodness into my life. I am open to receive. Visualize your future self calm, grounded, fulfilled, thanking you for believing in them. Return to this daily. You are rewiring your mind, not with fantasy, but with truth. Lesson recap. What you believe about yourself shapes what you allow into your life. You cannot receive more than what your self-worth permits. Worth is not earned through suffering, it is remembered through awareness. When you shift the story inside, life begins to reflect a new chapter outside. Closing thought for part 5. If you've ever wondered why peace feels distant, ask yourself not, why hasn't it come? But, have I made space to receive it? You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are simply being called to believe in your own light, so life can finally reflect it back to you. Part 6. Calmness is creation. In a world addicted to urgency, calmness looks like laziness. But in Buddhist wisdom, calmness is not the absence of effort, it's the purity of presence. Calm isn't what happens when everything is done. It's what allows everything to be done well. As Thich Nhat Hanh taught, smile, breathe, and go slowly. Because it's not the speed that determines the power of your action, it's the state of your being behind it. Be Te, the power of an unshaken mind. The Buddha often described calm as an inner lake, still, clear, undisturbable to reflect reality truthfully. When your mind is turbulent, even good decisions become clouded. When your mind is calm, even storms appear manageable. Peace, the Buddha said, comes from within. Do not seek it without. Real story. Elijah's moment of creative stillness. Elijah was a filmmaker facing burnout. Deadlines, pressure, funding issues. He felt like quitting. Then a mentor said, "Don't create from stress. Create from stillness." So Elijah took a silent weekend Alanino phone, no agenda, just a journal and forest hikes. In that quiet, an idea Kamino forced, but received. It became his breakthrough project, screened at Sundance. The calmer I got, Elijah reflected, the clearer the story became. I stopped chasing creativity and let it find me. Goj, Buddhist insight. The still mind is magnetic. In Samatha meditation, the practice of calming the mind, you learn to stop identifying with every passing thought. Over time, this inner stillness reveals a truth. You don't need to force alignment. Your calmness attracts it. Just as a still pond reflects the moon, a still mind reflects clarity. In the Zen tradition, this is likened to effortless effort, where action flows not from tension, but from a deep inner harmony. Reflection. Do you equate calm with laziness? Pause and ask, do I only allow myself rest after exhaustion? Do I believe stress means I'm doing something worthwhile? What if calmness made me more effective, not less? We've been taught to grind, but what if your most powerful self doesn't hustle aligns? Practice grounded action through breath. Before any tasking email, a decision, a conversation, try this. Inhale slowly through your nose, 4 counts. Hold gently, 2 counts. Exhale through your mouth, 6 counts. Whisper, I act from peace, not panic. Then proceed with stillness as your strength. Lesson recap. Calm is not passive, it's a creative force. Your energy, not just your actions, determines your outcomes. A calm mind attracts clarity, insight, and inspired direction. Create from alignment, not adrenaline. The world will always try to speed you up, but your soul, your truest self is not in a hurry. Calmness is how you return to your power. It's where inspiration lives. It's where miracles land softly, quietly, gracefully. Let the noise pass. Let your breath deepen. And from that still place within you, create. Part 7. The grace of letting go. Letting go is often seen as defeat, as if surrendering means you've failed. But in Buddhism, letting go isn't weakness, it's wisdom. The Buddha said, you only lose what you cling to, because clinging is fear in disguise. And when you release with love, you invite grace to enter. Tain, what are you holding that's holding you back? We all carry something. A relationship we've outgrown. A dream we forced for too long. A version of ourselves that no longer fits. And yet, we hold on. Because letting go feels like losing control, or losing identity, or letting others win. But here's the truth. You cannot welcome what's next while gripping what's gone. Like a tree in autumn, life asks us to release, not out of punishment, but to make space for rebirth. Real story. Leah's leap of faith. Leah was stuck in a toxic job. The pay was good, the title sounded impressive, but every morning she woke up with a knot in her chest. For a year, she stayed, afraid of being seen as ungrateful, afraid of the unknown. Then one morning, she sat in meditation and asked herself, If I truly trusted life, what would I do? The answer was immediate. Let go. She quit without a plan but with intention. 2 months later, she was offered a position at a non-profit doing meaningful work at better pay. The moment I stopped grasping, Leah shared, life placed something better in my open hands. Goad is liberation, Buddhist insight, letting go as liberation. In Buddhist philosophy, upadana is the fuel of Sufferingit, literally means grasping. Letting go, Vasaga, is one of the 10 paramis, or perfections, of the enlightened path. It is an active, release-not apathy, not avoidance. It's saying, I will no longer carry what was never mine to control, because every moment you release something false, you return to something true. Reflection. What's asking to be released? Gently ask, what am I holding that hurts more to keep than to let go? What belief says, I must hold on? What might open in my life if I loosened my grip? Letting go is rarely loud. It's a quiet whisper, I trust. Practice. The open hand ritual. Do this when you feel ready to release something. Sit with palms facing up. Visualize what you're holding onto in one hand. Inhale deeply. As you exhale, slowly open your fingers, physically let go. Say aloud, I release this with love. I make space for peace. Repeat as often as needed. Your hands and your heart were made to open. Lesson recap. Letting go is not defeat, it's sacred trust. What you cling to may be what's blocking your peace. Releasing isn't loss, it's alignment. The more you let go, the lighter and freer you become. You don't need to force what's already yours. You don't need to hold what's already fading. You don't need to chase what's not aligned. Let go. Let it fall. Let life rise in its place. Because when you surrender what was, you create space for what wants to be. That's not failure. That's grace. Part 7. Final reflections. What you want is already on its way. Take a breath. Not the kind you take while rushing between moments, but the kind that returns you to yourself. Pause. Let this truth settle in your heart. You don't have to chase what's already yours. All your life, you've been taught to strive, push, prove, to earn love, to force results, to outpace time. But Buddhist wisdom gently reminds us, everything unfolds when it's ready and when you are. Surrender isn't giving up, it's coming home. Surrender doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you care without control. You act with intention, but let go of expectation. You love without needing to possess. You work without obsessing over results. You rest, knowing that the seeds you've planted will bloom in due time. As the Zen saying goes, let go or be dragged. Real story. The Elder and the River. A student once asked an aging monk, Master, how do you seem so peaceful no matter what happens? The monk smiled and pointed to the river. I learned not to swim against it. When you trust the flow, you move without effort. You stop wasting energy on what was never yours to control. And you begin to see the sacred rhythm of life at work even in the chaos. Yujid, final Buddhist insight. The way is not somewhere you go, it's how you walk. You don't need to get there to be at peace. You don't need to fix yourself to be worthy. You don't need to have it all figured out to rest in presence. In the Dhammapada, the Buddha says, there is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path. So stop searching for the finish line. Walk slowly. Trust your steps. Let every moment become the miracle you used to chase. Last reflection. Letting go is a daily practice. Letting go is not a one-time event, it's a spiritual muscle. You'll tighten again, you'll grip again. That's okay. The goal is not perfection. The goal is awareness. Each time you notice yourself clinging, you have a sacred choice to hold tighter or to breathe and let it go. And each time you choose peace, you're not just healing yourself, you're healing the world. Summary of the journey. Over this sacred reflection, you've learned the vibration you send creates your reality. Gomj. Control blocks the flow of life. Silence carries the deepest wisdom. Timing is divine weight with trust. You receive what you believe you deserve. Calmness creates more than chaos ever could. Letting go is grace, not loss. Everything is already unfolding as it should. Final blessing from the Enlightened Mind. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are becoming. Let go of the noise. Trust the quiet. And remember, you don't manifest your destiny by force. You align with it by letting go of what you're not. So walk in peace, flow with faith, and let life surprise you with everything your soul already knows it deserves.